Hi guys, welcome to a video, and today's video topic is there lesbian subtext in the film Flashdance? Now I know what you're thinking, I just want there to be lesbian subtext in Flashdance because I have an all-consuming crush on Jennifer Beals, and you'd be correct. So if you're not familiar with this film, it came out in the 1980s and it stars a very baby-faced Jennifer Beals. The film was very commercially successful, it has a soundtrack which absolutely slaps, and I have to say it's up there in my most favourite films of all time category. In a nutshell, the film is about an 18-year-old working class girl who by day works in a steel mill and by night works as a sensual dancer. It's her dream to attend a prestigious ballet school and become a professional dancer, but she feels very intimidated by the whole application process, so she puts it off. Anyway, after the sudden death of her mentor and witnessing her friend essentially have her dreams broken, she decides to head back to the school and go ahead with the application process, and what do you know, she wows the judges with her various dance moves and it's happily ever after. Oh, as well as this, her boss, who is twice her age at the steel mill, is romantically pursuing her. Oh, Hollywood, you cesspit, you. And whilst we're on the subject of Hollywood being a cesspit, here are some not so fun facts about the film. It's relatively well known that Jennifer Beals didn't do the actual dancing in this film, but the woman who did do the dancing in the film was not credited for it at all. I mean, even the dog in the film got a credit, but she didn't. The film is allegedly based on the life of a woman named Maureen Marder, who was a steel mill worker and also a dancer. There is a lot of debate about the details of this, but what we do know is that the film studio did buy her life rights from her. Also, reportedly, Jennifer Beals was cast by a Paramount executive who showed pictures of the 3 finalists to a group of construction workers and asked them, which of these women would you most like to And lastly, some people might think it's strange that 2 men created such a good screenplay about a young female dancer in a working class world, longing to be a part of a prestigious ballet school. Well, in reality, a woman named Catherine Reback was actually asked to write the production drafts for the film and flesh the female characters in the film out and essentially give them a voice. But she was not credited for this, and not many people know about her input on the screenplay because refer back to the Hollywood cesspit comments. Anyway, uncredited labour aside, where does the lesbian subtext come into this film? Well, for a start, we all love a woman with a trade, and Jennifer Beals in a welder's uniform looks like something you'd find in a lesbian fantasies calendar. But when you really deconstruct the character of Alex Owens, she really isn't your typical woman, and she very much exists outside of typical female convention, which a lot of us lesbians relate to. For a start, her line of work is quite a masculine one. She's a welder, and of course women and men are capable of doing that job just the same, but the job does carry a lot of masculine association, and we very rarely see women represented in that type of work on screen. She also owns a pit bull named Grunt, who is not a dainty feminine breed, and in a lot of ways is a reflection of the character herself. Alex is somebody who also expresses her anger quite freely. She never censors herself, and all of these things really stand out against the cookie cutter image of women that Hollywood usually churn out into the world. You know, remember, a woman who expresses her anger is often seen as some kind of demonic bitch or just plain hysterical, yet Alex does this unapologetically. In fact, in a lot of ways, her character exists in the same manner that a man would. Next, there's her relationship with Nick. There's almost a battle for dominance where Nick is concerned. In fact, she's pretty physically violent towards him at one point, and she makes it clear that she doesn't really appreciate him impeding upon her life. I mean, age gap aside, the relationship just seemed a bit off. Then there's her relationship with Jeannie. Now, sadly, the actor actually died in real life 1 year after the film was released. In a lot of ways, the relationship between Alex and Jeannie in this film is quite reminiscent of almost a butch femme dynamic or a masculine and feminine romantic relationship. This is especially prevalent when Alex drags Jeannie out of the strip club with such a force that it kind of struck me as more of something a boyfriend character would do, as opposed to a friend. Alex and Jeannie could also be a very young Bet and Tina, so it's fun to watch for that reason. So yes, there's a lot of themes in this film which really resonate with lesbians, which I think is quite amusing because lesbians are probably the last demographic they had in mind when putting this film together. So yes, despite the film being somewhat problematic, it did give us a strong, biracial, humanised character in Alex Owens, complete with lesbian undertones. Or maybe that's just the energy that Jennifer Beals carries into all of her roles. Either way, it made the lesbians very happy. What a feeling. Okay guys, if you've seen the film, let me know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe for instant disappointment, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.